Scott Boras thinks that Cody Bellinger deserves. Long-term contract, $200 to $300 million. Bellinger is the player who is non-tendered by the Dodgers. We did a segment on Bellinger, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, where there was some discussion because Scott Boras and Andrew Friedman had a disagreement over the treatment of Cody Bellinger. The Dodgers and their training staff were impugned by Boras, and then Boras apologized, and it was a thing. And then, wouldn't you know it, only a little while later, rumor comes out in Bob Nightingale's column in the USA Today that Cody Bellinger may command $200 to $300 million, and there's multiple teams in, including the San Francisco Giants. That same San Francisco Giants team, who out of nowhere, coincidentally, took a Boras client who no one wanted named Michael Conforto and overpaid him at the end of last year's free agency. I wonder whether the San Francisco Giants are the new Washington Nationals, the new team that Scotty goes to, and Boras says, hey, you need our guy. He's the final piece to the puzzle. He will get you that ring. The Giants have rings, 10, 12, and 14. Don't get suckered by this. Now, I grant you, Bellinger's had a great season for the Cubs. Jed Hoyer is way too smart. Remember we talked in the beginning of the show what agents do? Hey, he was bad for a period of years. He was the MVP before, then really bad, and now he's back, which means the years when he was bad, those are the outliers. What you're getting here is the 2023 Bellinger, which is the same as the MVP Bellinger, which means he is one of the most productive and best players in the league, best hitters in the middle of your lineup. He will take you to the promised land. That'll be $250 million, and I'm going to want 8 years. $30 million a year for 8 years, plus a little change, if you don't mind. Suckers. There's no reason except Boras knows something that you are about to know. When a player is good coming off bad, a front office owner and a GM and a president will say, it's the good that I believe in, not the 3 years of bad. When there's 3 years of good and 1 year of bad and you're trying to get a player, you look and say, it's the 3 years of good, not the recent year of bad. Do you see the trick we play in our head? The trick is always, hey, we love the name, we love the player, we want to dream during the offseason that we're going to win the World Series or at least be in the playoffs. Therefore, we are going to believe in our head that the glass is not half full, but 7/8 full. Why would Boras want word to be out about all the different suitors for Cody Bellinger? Very simple. Going into this offseason, there is Ohtani, and then there's everybody else. With Ohtani's injury, the question is it now everybody else and Ohtani? Simultaneous. Prior to Ohtani's injury, which is being felt, the ripple effect is being felt through agents, front offices, and the commissioner's office. Such a significant injury as it relates to his free agency this coming season, off-season. What agents were going to do prior to the injury is wait for Ohtani to sign, set the market as high as possible, and then try to nuzzle your player in under Ohtani, but over the previous crazy contracts that have happened in the last couple of years. And the reason why the union has the agents do that is you want to try to keep moving the top part of the salary scale. You want to keep it moving higher. That's who the union focuses on. And all you members of the union who are in the lower and middle class, you know I'm right. The focus is always on the best players and keeping the highest salaries going higher, which has no impact to 98% of members of the union. Keep that in mind. A middle reliever, a closer, even a good bat, their market is not being made by the Turners and Seagers of the world, the Ohtanis, the Betts, the Trouts. Those are the exceptions. But what Boras is trying to do is get Bellinger into the same stratosphere as those players, the Seager, Betts players, Turner. And what they're trying to do is get him above them to keep the line moving. And the best way to get above them is to wait for Ohtani to sign way above them. But Ohtani's not a comp for anybody in the union. Whatever Ohtani gets, 500, 550, 450, 650, it doesn't matter. It is unique. No agent can go to a team and say, Ohtani got X, I deserve X minus a little tiny bit, because no player is close to Ohtani pre-injury. Post-injury, there are arguments to be made. So the union is working with Ohtani's agent, trying to figure out what is best to do with Ohtani. Do we go short-term? Do we go long-term? Do we go the highest AAV but make it a short-term deal? Do we make it heavily incentive-laden? No. That's what a team should do based on games started, based on number of at-bats. But with someone like Cody Bellinger, the union is treating him much in the same way as the majority top-tier free agents. But because his agent is Boras, I believe that Bellinger is going to wait to sign until Ohtani signs. Because what Boras is going to try to argue is that for all you teams who didn't get Ohtani, you need my guy. You may not get him. It's a much stronger argument than you may not get him to say you didn't get him. So what happens is you wait for Ohtani to sign, you go to the losers of the Ohtani sweepstakes and say, hey, I can get you Michael Conforto. So I'm going to give you an official wait to see on this, if you don't mind. Bellinger will sign after Ohtani. Book it.